What's the...
Extra, extra, here you are. Get your morning paper, read all about it. Extra, extra.
No, not again.
Extra, 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 read all about it.
What's that?
Here you are, get your...
No, siree. Won't do it. Can't make me do it. Can't make me do it.
Read all about it. Here you are. Get your...
March 15th. Old Man Whiskers rides again. Well, looks like I'm the villain again. Seems funny folks can't realize the people lay down the rules and I just carry them out.
My income tax is murder.
Rubber, you gone crazy or something?
You're driving me to the wall.
Can't pay it. Crops were good. Where do you think I'm gonna get the money?
Now, boys, take it easy. Don't blow your tops.
You're spending us into bankruptcy.
Do you think money grows on bushes, Bub?
Listen, Uncle. Cut my taxes or else.
I'd like to oblige, but you fellas seem to forget. The more benefits you demand, the higher your taxes have to be to pay the bills. Now, here's a list of a lot of things you'd like to have me buy for you, some of which may be very worthwhile. Certain government educational projects. Government medicine for everybody. More people on government payrolls. More government power projects. Electricity for everybody. Small loans for small business. Big loans for big business. Convert 4-lane superhighways to 8-lane superhighways. More billions for Europe. Higher subsidies for farmers.
Potatoes, dried eggs, wheat, butter, cotton, soybeans, beef, pork, sold to America.
Can't you understand? The more you get, the higher taxes you have to pay.
I'm paying more than my share now.
And you ought to pay more. You farmers are doing all right, too.
It's you city slickers that are to blame for higher taxes, not me.
Now, boys, don't fight about who's going to pay higher taxes. You'll all pay, one way or another. You know, I'm not very proud of some of the methods I have to use to get money from you boys. For instance, you probably haven't noticed a certain character who's been collecting for me for a long time, Mr. Hidden Tax. Every time you buy something, he takes a bite. Half of what you pay for tobacco. He ends up with about 1/3 the price of a new car. Cut the tax off your wife's hat, and what have you got left? Every time you buy a suit, he's right there to snip off his share. Don't forget, boys, that while you're busy complaining about your high income tax, Mr. Hidden Tax has already picked your pockets for his share. Add up the annual taxes the average person pays, and it's just like he has to work 3 months each year to pay his share of government expenses. As high as taxes are, you're still not paying off 1 dime on your national debt. What'll we do about that?
Oh, let it ride. I can't pay more taxes.
Me neither.
Don't look at me.
He's still making plenty of profits.
Yeah, old Moneybags is loaded with dough. Raise his taxes.
Sounds logical, but let's look at the results. The higher tax bill gives old JP something of a minor shock.
Oh, no, not again.
Here's what usually happens when we raise corporate taxes too high.
First, I've got to pay my present taxes. The Part of the profits have to help pay for the new plant. Must keep ahead of my competitors. Maybe I can skip a dividend. No, can't do that. Have to keep my stockholders happy. I might want them to invest more money in the business. Have to put a little by for rainy days. They come to everybody. Well, there's no money left to pay the tax increase. There's only one thing to do.
So you see, boys, higher taxes on business mean higher prices to the consumer. And if prices get so high that customers aren't able to buy the goods industry produces, everybody suffers. Everybody has to pay for government spending, one way or another. The more government services you get, the more taxes I have to collect from you to pay the bills. I can hardly sleep nights worrying about balancing the budget. Looks like I'll never stop writing in red ink. You lobbyists are giving me nightmares with your hands out for more and more and more money.
Another emergency, Uncle. Need some money right away.
Hey, Uncle, you promised to pay me more than the market price for these spuds.
I want my share. How about a higher pension?
Higher pensions, small loans for small business, big loans for big business, corn subsidy, egg subsidy, health insurance, government housing, higher mail subsidies. Hands everywhere, hands grabbing for money, more and more money. It's a nightmare, I tell you. Unless your government practices some good old-fashioned American thrift, a certain bunch of sharp operators may be able to pick up our country at a bargain price. To keep the torch of liberty burning brightly, all of us must do without some of the things we want. Only in that way can we preserve our strength and remain free.
for this unsolicited testimonial. And now, by special permission of the Commander-in-Chief, me, here is Mars' first space explorer, Colonel Cosmic.
I can't tell you how happy I am to see your smiling faces once more. First, let me say that this trip was made possible only by our dauntless chief, Og the Magnificent, introducer of Og Power, which runs most of our industry, and inventor of Og Speed, which doubles the original Og Power. A short time ago, the master was having trouble with the state limousine. He had, of course, developed the explosive charge. But it was inclined to get a little out of hand, just slightly. And, of course, there was always the problem of friction. Parts rubbing together, heating up, and causing all sorts of trouble. But our leader was undaunted. He immediately ordered our first expedition into space to bring back the secret of how other planets got their state limousines to run smoothly. The target was picked with painstaking scientific accuracy. Destination, Earth. You all know with what eagerness I volunteered for the mission, and with what confidence I took off. I took careful bearings and set out for my goal. It seemed no time till I was approaching a country of Earth called, the United States of America. I set her down like a feather. What's all the racket? Naturally, I protected government property by making the saucer invisible. They're after the chickens, no? And though the natives showed great interest in me, I decided to make myself invisible, too. Seeing moving lights in the distance, I headed for them. What phenomenal luck! I had landed close to what seemed to be an endless procession of state limousines. They moved quickly, and yet with fantastic smoothness. I just had to get a closer look at one of those Earthmobiles. Just as I thought. Not only smooth and efficient, but powerful as well. I watched them for hours. Great Ganymede, they were superb. I just couldn't help comparing them with ours, if you call that a comparison. Surely these vehicles must be the property of the highest officials. I was wrong. It seems that almost everybody in this country has one of those, they call them automobiles. They use them for transportation, for business, for pleasure. They use them for all sorts of things. I found that these vehicles gather at places called service stations, where they are fed, lubricated, that's how they beat friction, and given the finest care. The source of their nourishment was something called petroleum. A power source like that must be a highly prized state secret. I had to find out about it. Perhaps the secret lay within this government archives building. It was heavily guarded, but casting discretion to the winds, I walked boldly inside. Their code was remarkably easy to break. They merely substituted the word oil for petroleum. And I soon got hold of a veritable mine of classified information. I began to assimilate the material. I soon found out that though petroleum products are easily found anywhere, petroleum itself is a very elusive substance. Experts have to search for it constantly in all the most likely and unlikely places with all kinds of scientific devices. When they figure they found a good spot, they drill a hole in the ground called an oil well, for almost all oil lies far beneath the surface of the earth. These wells go down thousands of feet and cost a lot of money to drill. But that's no guarantee that they're going to find oil. Matter of fact, in exploratory drilling, only 1 well in 9 finds any oil at all. Only 1 in 44 recovers enough oil to pay for itself. And only 1 in almost 1,000 makes a major discovery. Pretty big odds. Yet America's proved reserves, the oil supplies still underground, have kept increasing steadily. I couldn't imagine how this ever-increasing supply of oil was achieved until I found out that there's not just 1, but thousands of oil companies, all competing with each other to discover and develop new sources of oil. For believe it or not, in the USA, anyone who is willing to risk it can drill for oil. But oil discovery is only part of the story. Once they get oil out of the ground, it has to be moved through pipelines, on ships, or in tank cars to fantastic processing plants called refineries. Crude oil goes in, and great Jupiter, the things that come out. Gasoline, for example, the most efficient mobile power source on Earth. That was the stuff that powered all those cars and trucks. And asphalt, which makes smooth, durable roads. It seems that oil not only runs cars, it even gives them something to run on. Another oil product is the diesel fuel, which runs giant trains across the nation. In winter, fuel oil made from petroleum brings warmth and comfort to millions of homes. And still other fuels help defend America's shores and skies. From refineries also come the lubricating oils and greases that keep the wheels turning in America. But that still isn't all. Crude oil, like everything else, is made up of billions of tiny molecules. And using the magic of research, oil companies compete with each other in taking the petroleum molecule apart and rearranging it into, well, you name it, fabrics, toothbrushes, tires, insecticides, cosmetics, weed killers, a whole galaxy of things to make a better life on Earth. And you know, it isn't just oil companies that try to outdo each other, competing for the customer's dollar. The same story is true of almost every successful business enterprise in America. The result? A higher standard of living in the USA than in any other country on the whole planet. At last, the secret was mine. And now, to get proof of my discovery, smuggled past the border guards. In spite of my infinite precautions, one of them became suspicious and gave the alarm.
Come back for the eggs, did you?
And so, with the fond farewells of the natives ringing in my ears, I took off once again for Mars. My landing was a little bumpy, but I saved my precious cargo. Yes, I brought the secrets back with me, and here they are. The big secret is, of course, oil, which has brought a better life to all the people in the USA. But the key to making oil work for everybody is competition. Fellow Martians, I thank you.
Very interesting, Colonel. Oil, huh? Sounds splendid. But that, what was it? Competition. Not our kind of thing at all. Why, competition is downright unmarked.
We'll have oil for everybody. That's what we need. Oh, boy, oil.
You know what this means, Cosmic?
You bet I do, Og. It means that you're through. So why don't you get lost? Yes, the real secret is not only a great source of energy, but also the freedom to make it work for everybody. And if you have both of these things, any goal is possible. It's Destination Unlimited.
It wasn't so long ago in the history of man's voyage toward a better world that ships were carrying eager passengers toward the shores of a new nation that was just in the building. Our forefathers were constructing the foundation of this nation by interlocking inseparably the blocks of our political and economic freedoms. The way of life our forefathers established on this foundation of freedoms drew people from the far corners of the earth. And all those who set foot on these shores had the opportunity to build a better life for themselves. Even young Jonathan, an unskilled lad from across the sea, hoped to find a job where he could progress according to his ability and enterprise. As the years passed, Jonathan's earnings increased. But he still felt that for a man of his skill, it was about time for another raise.
Mr. Blessgravy, am I not the best crown rounder and brim trimmer in ye business?
Mm-hmm.
Then verily, methinks I am worth more moolah.
That you are, Jonathan. I'm sorry, lad.
No raise, Mr. Blessgravy? I quit. Sales and profits down. Phooey, I could run ye business better myself. Hey, why not? My own business. All you need's a little capital, a little push, and an idea. Yeah, an idea. Let's see.
So I said to him, I wouldn't wear that hat to a dog fight. Why, there isn't a decent hat in the entire village. And such prices. Imagine paying that much for a poke bonnet. Why, it was an awful thing.
Why not? Women's hats. My own business.
Fortunately, Jonathan was thrifty enough to keep a little nest egg for such an emergency. Well, the cost of the building took care of the nest egg. and there was nothing left to pay for the necessary tools and equipment. But happily, Jonathan had a good reputation, and as his idea promised a profit, his friends and neighbors were willing to invest some of their savings in his new business. In the nick of time, an enterprising chap showed up with the raw materials to make hats. And before long, Jonathan was open for business. First, he had to advertise.
Shop at Bonton, it's the spot. 12 new hat styles, that's a lot. Ladies, get that new hat drill. 30 days to pay your bill.
As an expert salesman, Jonathan demonstrated the superior style and quality of his product. He set a price for his creations that the consumer was willing to pay, and sales dollars poured in from satisfied customers. Jonathan had big dreams of the wonderful rewards of being in business for himself. But before he could buy what he wanted, his employees' wages had to be paid. He had to pay taxes. And his friends who helped finance the business had to be paid a return on their investment. When all of his bills were paid, Jonathan had to exchange his big dream for a little dream.
Mesdames, mademoiselles, it is the privilege of Alphonse, hat stylist to all the crowned heads of Europe, to bring you hats with style so chic, a quality magnifique, and a price, ooh la la, so low. Come one, come all to the grand opening.
To meet competition, Jonathan had to plow part of his profits back into the business to develop a better hat. If customers approved the quality, style, and price of Jonathan's new designs, he still could make his dreams come true. With the passing years, this strong foundation of freedoms protected the dignity of the individual and his family, gave everyone the right to worship as he pleased, and promised anyone with ability and enterprise the opportunity to participate in the building of the American way of life as we know it today. A way of life that depends upon millions of thrifty Americans who send a portion of their savings to work in our business system each year. People from all walks of life, workers, farmers, housewives, all of us send our dollars to work in our business system in the hope of earning dividends or interest on our investments. Anyone who has an insurance policy, a bank deposit, or a share of stock is helping to finance our business system. A constant stream of savings dollars must flow into big and small business each year. These dollars help to buy the land, the buildings, the tools and equipment, and create new job opportunities for our expanding population. The goods we produce are distributed to main streets all over the country. While the Main Street of today doesn't look much like the Main Street of Jonathan's time, the principles of our business system remain the same, for businessmen still compete with one another for the consumer's supply of spendable dollars. And Mrs. Consumer is still mighty critical of everything she buys. Uh-oh, competition. The management of every business has a continuing problem to improve their product to stay ahead of competition, or else.
came in, this is it. Quick Chill's got the ball. We've got to get it back. Give them that new product play. More style, better quality, new features, and at the right price. Hit the line, men. Let's go.
Micrometer, wrench, file, caliper, slide rule.
In addition to creating a better product, management develops new tools and more efficient methods to help workers turn out more boxes to sell at a price Mrs. Consumer will pay. The new features about this better product are advertised to point out its competitive advantages.
The Auto Magic Perma-Freeze, with plenty of room for groceries galore. The Auto Magic Perma-Freeze, with the super duper store-o-matic door. Just press the button for your ice, a feature that is new, and extra space all over the place for other items too. In the Auto Magic Perma-Freeze, so see your dealer right away. Get a Perma-Freeze today.
Ah, yes, dear lady. Perma-Freeze is your kind of refrigerator. High quality at a low price.
Sales dollars from satisfied customers once again flow back to Perma-Freeze. A successful business must have enough sales dollars coming in to enable management to pay the expenses of doing business, such as salaries and wages, materials and supplies, research and product development, plant maintenance and repair. In addition to all of these bills, management has to pay taxes to local, state, and federal governments. Any money that's left over is known as profit. Wise management plows part of it back into the business. The remainder of the profit is paid out as dividends. These dividends are sent back to investors as a reward for risking their savings in the American business system. Although occasionally some of us pick a lemon and have to take a loss. The constant investment of our savings through good times and bad has enabled our competitive business system to continue to increase the production of more and better goods to meet the demands of our rising population for a better standard of living. For example, it was only a little more than half a century ago that the average worker had only inefficient tools to help him turn out a product. Low production meant low wages. In 1900, many men had to work 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, to earn enough money to provide their families with the bare essentials. Hand labor was the rule in the home as well as the factory. In many families, the youngsters had to work to add their earnings to the family budget and forego the opportunity to get an education. And with most families in those days, the standard of living left much to be desired. A half-century later, we had invested enough in our business system to provide the average worker with efficient and expensive buildings and machinery to enable him to produce enough in a 40-hour week to earn twice as much as the 1900 worker earned in a 60-hour week. This shorter work week gives us all more leisure time to enjoy a standard of living beyond the wildest dreams of anyone who lived a half-century ago. The more we earn, the more our families have to spend for the things they need and want. Young people today have leisure time for fun and enjoy educational opportunities denied their fathers and grandfathers. And fortunately, we have been able to raise our standard of living without sacrificing the spiritual side of life, which means so much to the American family. Our business system has continued to provide a better life for our increasing population, in spite of destructive forces which have pounded against our foundation of freedoms with no avail. However, wars, or the threat of wars, interrupt the normal operations of our competitive business system. And may result in government controls which crack essential blocks in our foundation of freedoms. In World War II, wages were controlled. Many workers were frozen to their jobs. Farm prices were controlled. And profits of business were limited. Raw materials were allocated between essential and non-essential business. On Main Street, USA, many of us found less to buy because a good portion of our productive capacity went to the war effort. Prices were fixed, and the available supply of goods was rationed. In war emergencies, we allow government to restrict certain of our freedoms. But we Americans have learned to remove government controls as quickly as possible and to repair the blocks in the foundation of our freedoms to allow our business system to resume its normal operations. While we invest part of our savings to help finance the world's most efficient business system, at the same time we pay taxes to government to finance many kinds of services which also contribute to our way of life. For example, our taxes must provide the necessary funds to improve and expand our school system. Our taxes must be sufficient to pay for city streets, health, fire, and police protection, and of course, aid to the needy. Our state taxes help pay for highways, educational institutions, and among other things, help to finance important experiments to increase the productivity of our farms. Our federal taxes pay for irrigation and reclamation projects, for national parks, postal services, the Weather Bureau, and many other services. Our taxes have to pay for the enormous cost of past wars and provide the funds for a defense program which will ensure the safety of our country. In addition, all of us should be willing to pay whatever taxes are necessary to enable efficient government to improve or expand any essential service. But with our present tax load, we should avoid pressuring government for any new services that aren't absolutely necessary. Because we all know the more our government provides, the more taxes it's forced to collect. None of us can escape. Big business. Small business. Farmers. Workers. Housewives, and all of us have to pay our share. Demanding more and more from government could create a tax burden heavy enough to crack essential blocks in the foundation of our business system. Therefore, we shouldn't let our taxes reach a point where they destroy our ability to save and invest. For, as we have seen, our rising standard of living depends upon a constant flow of savings dollars into our business system each year. In the future of our country, waves of destructive forces will continue to batter against our foundation. When any force weakens the interlocked blocks of our political and economic freedoms, as good citizens, we must be quick to use the tools our Constitution gives us and repair any cracks that may appear. As long as we keep the foundation of our business system strong, we shall be able to maintain and improve the way of life our forefathers conceived and established. A way of life which gave everyone who came to this country the chance to progress according to his ability and enterprise. Like the youth of yesterday, the young people of today deserve the same opportunity to earn success and accomplishment. And on this foundation of freedoms, continue to build a better life for themselves and their fellow man in the world of tomorrow.